In 2004, a Japanese forum user named Hasumi posted something strange. She claimed she was stuck on a train, but the train never stopped, until it did. At a station that doesn't exist on any map, Kisaragi Station. No signal, no people, just footsteps that weren't hers. She kept posting updates until everything went silent. Now, 20 years later, someone else claims the same thing happened to them. Is Kisaragi Station just an urban legend or a gateway to another dimension? My name is Hana. I'm not someone who scares easily, but that night, something felt wrong. I had just finished my night shift. As usual, I took the last train from Shin Hamamatsu Station, a quiet, local line. Normally takes 30 minutes to get home, but that night, 30 minutes passed, then 40, then a full hour. I checked my phone, no signal. I looked out the window, complete darkness, no streetlights, no buildings, nothing. I tried asking another passenger, but I was alone. Panic set in. I pressed the emergency button, no response. Finally, the train slowed down and stopped. But it wasn't a station I recognized. The station sign was rusted, barely readable. It said, Kisaragi. I had never heard of this station. It didn't even exist on Google Maps. I stepped off. The silence was too complete. Even the wind seemed afraid to pass. When I called out, I heard footsteps behind me, but when I turned around, there was no one there. I stood on that platform for several minutes, trying to stay rational. Maybe I fell asleep. Maybe this is just some old, unused station. But there were no schedules, no vending machines, no signs of life. I tried to get back on the train, but the doors were locked tight, wouldn't budge. I decided to walk. Maybe I'd find a road, a house. But after 15 minutes, all I saw were dark trees and old power poles. No cars, no sounds. I tried texting a friend, but my phone just kept searching for signal. My feet felt heavier with each step, like the ground didn't want me there. Then I heard it, footsteps behind me, but the rhythm was wrong. 1, 2, silence. 3 fast steps, then pause. I turned around, nothing. But when I kept walking, the steps got louder, closer. I started to run. My breath caught in my throat. And ahead, I saw it. An old tunnel, dark, no lights. But somehow, I felt I had to go inside, because now, the footsteps were coming from both directions. My breath was still ragged as I stepped into the tunnel. The air inside wasn't just cold, it was wet, like the breath of something ancient. My footsteps echoed, but something else echoed too, out of sync. I turned on my phone's flashlight. The walls were covered in strange markings, not Japanese, not anything modern. On the side, I saw something lying there, a shoe, a child's shoe, dusty, still stained with dried blood. I wanted to go back, but the footsteps returned, faster, hurried. I ran deeper in. This tunnel, it never ended. Every time I thought I saw light at the end, it vanished. Just reflections. The walls began to change, not concrete, but something fleshy, pulsing. Voices started to whisper, muttering my name. Hana, Hana. I covered my ears, but the sound came from inside my head. Just as I was about to break, I saw something, a flickering light, like a lantern flame, and someone was standing there. But that someone had no face. The faceless figure didn't move, just stood there in the glow of the lantern. I backed away slowly, unable to look away. Then it spoke. Without a mouth, its voice sounded like 1,000 whispers forced into one. It's not your time. Yet you came anyway. I ran again, but somehow I didn't return to the same place. I emerged from the tunnel and found a road, but it wasn't normal. The buildings lining it looked like copies of a real city. No windows, no doors. The street lamps were on, but there was no power. In the distance, I saw them. People, standing still at the edge of the road. But as I got closer, their faces were blank, their eyes wide open, frozen. I touched one shoulder, and the body crumbled like a mannequin, hollow, lifeless. Suddenly, my wristwatch started ticking backward. I froze. This place rejects time, and I was being pulled toward something that should not be found. I kept walking through that empty street. No sounds. Even my own footsteps echoed like someone else's. Then I saw him, a man sitting on the curb, head down. His hair was long, clothes worn out, but his eyes were alive. "You're not from here," he said, before I could even speak. "Neither am I," he continued. "I took a night train from Osaka 17 years ago." My breath caught. 17? He nodded. "This place holds time, doesn't kill us, but doesn't let us live either." He told me about Kisaragi, a place that shouldn't exist. It used to be a village of worshippers. They believed this world was just a copy of a more real realm. One night, their ritual opened a tear, and the village vanished from every map. And sometimes, trains wander in. I looked at him. "Why me?" He stared back, intense. "Because you're between life and death. Maybe you're dying in the real world." I held my breath. "But you can still leave," he whispered. "But hurry, before your shadow disappears." I looked down, and that's when I realized I no longer had a shadow. I parted ways with the man after he pointed in one direction. "If you truly want to go back," he said, "follow the light that has no source." It sounded like a riddle, but as I walked the path he showed me, I saw it. A narrow corridor. At its end, a light hanging in the air, not from a lamp, not the sun. I entered. The corridor walls weren't walls. They were mirrors, hundreds, maybe thousands, but my reflection wasn't the same. In one mirror, I smiled. In another, I cried. In one of them, I was bleeding, screaming silently. And then I noticed one of the reflections wasn't mimicking me. I froze. That reflection kept walking toward me and smiled, a smile that was wrong. I turned around, and she stood behind me. Not me, but my body, my clothes, my face. But her aura wasn't mine. She leaned in and whispered, "This place only needs one Hana. This world wants to replace me." I ran, but every mirror began reflecting distorted figures trying to escape. I was trapped between dimensions, and time had completely vanished. I escaped the mirror corridor, at least I thought I did. But now I was standing in a wide, dead, silent field. The sky above didn't move. The clouds looked painted, frozen. In the middle of that field, I saw them. Shadows, sitting in a circle, whispering in a language I knew wasn't from our world. One of them turned to me. Her face was mine, but not me. "You've come too far," she said. "They called this the ritual of erasing the name. As long as you still have your name, you can go back," she explained. "But this place is eating it, slowly, from the real world, from memory, from birth records, even from your own body." I began to shake. I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out my ID. It was blank, just clear plastic. I screamed, "I don't want to disappear." But the shadow said, "It's too late. The only way back is to trade one soul." And all the shadows turned to me. They were waiting for me to choose. I stood in the middle of the shadow circle, hands trembling, breath shallow. "Trade one soul," they said. Then they handed me a ticket, thin paper but warm. It read, "Kisaragi, your origin one-way trip, valid once." Below that, in tiny print, with replacement. I looked around, so many versions of me, all lost, but among them I saw the man from before. "Take me," he said. "I've been here too long." I refused. I didn't want anyone else to suffer, so I ran, ticket in hand. The shadows screamed behind me. Corridors closed in, mirrors shattered. This world was collapsing. Ahead, I saw a station platform and one old train waiting. I stepped inside. As the doors closed, I saw all my other selves watching me. But I knew only one of us could return. I unlocked my phone. There was signal, notifications. I was alive. But in the window reflection, my reflection didn't move with me. I came back, but maybe not as the same me.